Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. The tour that we're going to be talking about is the Classic Europe, which is one of our graduation tours that we offer to Europe. Today we'll be taking you on like a behind the scenes tour of Europe, seeing where you'll be visiting on your trip, and also giving you some travel advice and tips. Once we've gone through the presentation, we will have time for Q&A at the end. If anybody wants to write down their questions, there is a chat feature that you can use. And you can add those questions during the presentation, and then I will answer those at the end for you. So our presentation here is probably about maybe like 20 minutes, and then we can have as much time as you'd like for Q&A at the end. So the Classic Europe trip, it's a 12-day, four-country trip with the option to add on 5 days and continue your journey to southern Italy and Greece. So the countries that you will be visiting on this tour, if you take the entire tour, will be England, France, Italy, Vatican City, which is considered a country, and then on to Greece. So your trip is going to start in London. To get there, you will fly overnight to London. So there are a couple of places in the US that offer day flights. And if you are booking your flights yourself, you will want to make sure you purchase an overnight flight to London. So you'll arrive early in the morning. If you have purchased the airfare with us, the tour director will be waiting for you at the airport, and then you will have a transfer to your hotel downtown. If you do decide to book your own flights, it's really easy to get to the hotel in London. So once we get to the about a month or so prior to departure, if you do need any assistance in or advice in terms of getting to the hotel on your own, you can reach out to us once we have the hotels finalized on your particular tour. Once you get to the hotel, you'll have the afternoon free. Grab a shower, go out and get some lunch. If the rooms are ready, you can check in right away. If they're not quite ready yet, they'll hold your luggage at the hotel, so you can, go off and grab some breakfast or lunch, and then come back to the hotel in a little bit and check into your room. You'll have the afternoon free, and then the group will get together for their orientation session with the tour director, meet everybody from the group, and then you will go out that evening on a pub crawl. Most of our hotels are located in the Kensington neighborhood, so generally that will be the area that the tour director will bring you to. The next day, you'll have a morning sightseeing tour. So you'll get to see the main sites in London. It'll be walking and using the subway. And you will get a subway ticket that you can use for the rest of the day. So you'll be able to continue to explore London after your sightseeing tour ends. From London, we'll take the train from London to Paris. The Eurostar, or the Channel, as it's known, is the easiest way to get between London and Paris. It's downtown to downtown in a little over 2 hours, so it's very fast, very convenient, and you will be right in the heart of Paris once you arrive on the train. You will be met at the train station by your local guide who will do a sightseeing tour. So again, you'll get to see the main sites in Paris so that you know what you want to go back and visit on your free time. After the sightseeing tour, we check into the hotel. Then you have a little bit of time before we all get together on our Seine River cruise and also our French bistro dinner that evening. So the cruise down the River Seine is a lovely way to see Paris, and the monuments are all lit up. So it really is a nice way to see the city, and then also enjoy a nice French dinner. We will include a 2-day travel card when you're in Paris, so you'll be able to use buses and subways to get around on during your free time when you're there. The next day, we will have an optional visit to a perfumery. There's both a working perfumery and a museum at Fragonard. This optional activity is free, and your tour director will let you know when you need to sign up for that. The other optional activity that we will have available that day is a French cabaret show. So if you've seen the movie Moulin Rouge, you may know what to expect. But it's a fun evening out at a famous French cabaret. There is a dress code and there is some champagne included along with your transfers to and from the venue. We include the details of these optional activities with your final document, so you'll have a description of what's included and also the cost before you leave the US. And then you'll sign up with your tour director and just pay them locally in cash for your French cabaret tour. After 2 nights in Paris, we're going to head south to Nice, and we'll take one of the high-speed trains in France. So it's a fast way to get to the south of France. We'll be on the train. Once we get there, we'll check into our hotel for the next 2 days, and then the group will go together and have a nice French dinner that evening. You will have the next day free to explore Nice. There is fantastic museums in Nice. There's a great like arts culture there. There's also some fantastic beaches. So if you're ready to just lounge around on the beach, this is the perfect place to do it. Or we will again have an optional activity here, subject to availability due to the Monaco Grand Prix or the film festival. If those are happening during your stay in Nice, then we'll either offer a different program that day. But again, your tour director will let you know if your trip would be affected by either of those events. So you'll get to enjoy the day or visit Monte Carlo and Cannes. And then the next day, we're going to travel by motor coach along the coast and head into Italy and visit Pisa and then head to the Tuscan countryside for, again, a 2 night stay there. So along the way, we'll see Pisa, the Leaning Tower, which is always a great spot for selfies. And then continue to our hotel in the Tuscan countryside. You'll have the morning to explore town. Or again, just relax at the hotel. And then we will have a wine tasting and a local farm to table style Tuscan dinner on the evening that you're there. So that's a great way to see the best of Tuscany, which would really be the food and the fantastic Chianti wine. From Tuscany, we're going to head south down to Rome. Again, we'll have 2 nights in Rome. We'll have a sightseeing tour with a local historian the day that you arrive. And then the next day, you will have free time to explore. On our sightseeing tour, you will have admission to the Roman Forum and also to the Colosseum. There is a very small reservation fee. I think it's only like $1 or like €1 that you need to pay for the Colosseum. But other than that, the Roma pass that you will receive will cover those entrances and also cover your transportation in Rome for those 2 days. The sightseeing tour will end up in Vatican City. So if you do want to, visit the Vatican in more detail, you can do that at the end of the tour. And then we will also have an illumination drive after our pizza party dinner. And during the illumination drive, you'll get to see all of the famous monuments, again, all lit up and they look like just so amazing at night. So it's a lovely way to see Rome. So for some of you, the next day you will be heading home after your 12-day trip. For those who chose to purchase the extension onto Greece, we're going to head south that morning. Our first stop is going to be in Pompeii. This was the city that was buried by an eruption of Mount Vesuvius. The city was completely covered in ash, but the ash has also preserved a lot of the city. So you'll be able to see ongoing excavations and also fully excavated areas and learn a lot about the history of Pompeii before that devastating earthquake. From here, we're going to head east and take our overnight cruise ferry from Italy to Greece. The ship departs from the port of Bari, and everybody will be in four share cabins for this overnight ferry. The rest of the tour will be in two share rooms, so this is the only time where there's more than two in a room. So you'll depart in the evening. It's a really fun way to get to Greece. There's lots of young people, Europeans, who travel to Greece by boat. So there's always like a fun mix of people on there, always somebody, playing their guitar up on deck. And there's also like restaurants and a nightclub, etc. on board. So there's plenty to do on your overnight ferry from Italy to Greece. When you wake up, you will have breakfast on board. And then once you disembark, we will take a bus ride and then a short taxi boat ride to the island of Poros. And this is going to be your vacation in a vacation. You'll have 3 nights on the island of Poros. You can do as much or as little as you like. There's lots of lovely beaches, hidden coves where you can just relax for the day. Or we'll include bike rentals on one of the days that you're there, so you can explore the island by bike. There's ruins in the center of the island, up on a hill through some lemon groves that you can go explore. And then we'll also have our last optional activity, which is a water sports outing. So you can do banana boating, uh, paragliding, those sort of activities while you're in on the island of Poro. So you get to go out on a boat, which is always a fun thing to do when you're in Greece. You'll also have dinner on 2 of your nights while you're in on the island of Poros, and then you could go into Poros town on your free evening and explore the town and have dinner at one of the lovely restaurants there. We'll also have a toga party while you're there. Lots of people go, oh no, I'm not doing a toga party. But once you're in Greece, I assure you, the toga party is a fun time at the hotel. So after your relaxing time in Poros, we're going to head to Athens. We'll take a hydrofoil, a high-speed hydrofoil from Poros to Athens. It just takes about an hour. And once you get to the mainland, you will be met by a local historian and your motor coach, and we'll go on a city tour to see the main highlights. You'll have admission into the Acropolis, so you'll get to explore there. And then after some free time to maybe do some last minute souvenir shopping, we'll have our farewell Greek taverna dinner, which is a really fun experience. Fantastic food, singing, dancing. So a really nice way to spend your last night in Greece. So the next morning, you'll depart from home. Again, if you've purchased airfare with AESU, will include your transfers from the hotel to the airport, or we can let you know how to get to the airport if you have booked your own flights. So what's included in the package? For the base land package, which is the 12 nights starting in London and ending in Rome, you'll have 10 nights of accommodation in tourist class hotels. So this will be 3-star or better hotels, and they all have private bath or shower. So if you don't have a roommate, we will assign you a roommate of the same gender. Or if you have somebody that you're traveling with, when you're going through the booking form, you can indicate who you want to room with on the booking form and we will put you together. Breakfast is included every day, and then there's four three-course dinners included in this program. You'll have your train from London to Paris, and again, your train from Paris to Nice, and then motor coach transportation from Nice to Italy. The guided tours will be in London, Paris, and Rome, and those are all led by a local historian or art expert. The admissions will include the Roman Forum and the Colosseum as part of your Roma pass. And then the public transportation passes that you have will be in London and in Paris and in Rome as well. You'll have a private tour director with you for the entire duration of the tour. That person is there to make sure that you have the best time. So, if you're not sure of what you want to do or you need some advice of places to go or things to see, please ask your tour director. They're very knowledgeable. They're all very well traveled, fluent in multiple languages, and they are there to make sure that you have a good time. So definitely, ask them if there's anything that you're unsure about. All taxes and service charges are included. Tipping for your tour guide is not included, but is sort of a standard component of tours that you may take is to tip your local guide. And we'll give you some guidance on how much we recommend again in your final documents. So if you do decide to take the 5-day extension onto Greece, and which if you're at all on the fence, definitely go to Greece. Nobody has ever regretted going to Greece for 5 days. So if you're not 100% sure, please book it. You will have a fantastic time. We always get calls for people when they're in Paris and they're having such a great time on the tour that they want to add the Greece portion, and it's just not possible for us to do it at that point. So highly recommend adding it on. What's included with that will be your breakfast every day. There's 3 evening meals, 2 on the island of Poros and 1 in Athens. We have the bike rental on the island of Poros and also your toga party. And then we have your guided tours in Pompeii and in Athens and your admissions to Pompeii itself and also to the Acropolis. The travel, as I mentioned earlier, will be on an overnight cruise ferry, which will be 4 share cabins. And then you'll be in a 2-share room again once you're in Poros and in Athens. So the cost of the package is $4,396 for the base land package and then $1,285 to add on the extension to Greece. In order to book the tour, you can book and pay your deposit online with a credit card. The deposit is $500, or you can always make a booking online and then mail a check to us if that's easier. And we don't charge any credit card processing fees for the deposit. The balance of payment will be due 90 days prior to departure. You can mail us a check, use your bank's bill pay feature to send us payment, or you can use a credit card. However, we do have a 4% processing fee for paying the balance by credit card. You can also pay in installments if you like, as long as it's paid off by that due date. And to pay in installments, you can just either mail us a check for how much ever is good for you. And then each time we receive a payment, we will send you an updated invoice. So it's a kind of informal payment plan. The optional excursions that we'll offer on the tour are the Moulin Rouge, Cannes Monte Carlo, and then the water sports. Those would be the optional excursions that have a fee associated with them. And then we also have that other excursion when you're in Paris to the perfume museum. That is free of charge. And again, we'll give you the details of the cost of these once we're a little bit closer to day of departure, and then you will just book it with your tour director once you're in Europe. For airfare, AESU, we work with Star Alliance carriers, so United, Lufthansa, and Air Canada are who we work with most. and they have fares for most US cities. So um, we're happy to give you a quote on airfare when you make your reservation. You can just indicate what city you want to fly from, and we will include the schedule and the cost of the airfare, which are confirmation invoice. And if you decide that you don't want the airfare, as long as you let us know within 10 days to 2 weeks of making your reservation, we will cancel those for you with no penalty. If you do book the flights with us, we will include the airport transfers in London and either in Rome or Athens. Another benefit of booking the airfare with us is that if for any reason we had to change the tour date, we can go ahead and reschedule the flights for you. Or on day of travel, if your flight is delayed, we're generally get an alert about that, so we're aware that you'll be late, and we can let the tour director know. Or if there's any cancellations on the day of travel, we can assist you in rebooking your flights. If you are planning to either travel to Europe early or stay late at the end of the tour, we can still do the flights for you. It's probably best to send us an email and let us know what you need to do or to give us a call, and then we can work with you on those alternative arrangements. You will be using the euros for most of this tour. London would be the only exception. They're still using British pounds. So I would recommend taking, just enough to last you a day or so in London, and just withdraw some local pounds from an ATM machine in London, but don't take out too much because otherwise you'll have to pay to convert it to euros. Um, I would not take all of your cash, all of your spending money in cash with you, just because if you lose it, you've lost all of your money. I would recommend maybe just taking out enough money for, 3 or 4 days from an ATM machine. That way you cut down on any transaction fees. And if you do lose your wallet, it's not like a total disaster, like it would be if you had all of your spending money in cash with you. Um, Credit cards are accepted widely in Europe, so you should have no problem using your credit card when you're there. But you should check with your bank about foreign transaction fees. A lot of credit cards will have those fees, and it's per transaction, so they really can rack up. So I would ask your bank if the card has transaction fees, and if they do, I would recommend getting a new card, and you can always cancel it when you get home if it's not like a card that you want to continue using. Cards that usually don't have transaction fees are cards that are branded for travel. So like hotel cards, airline cards, those kind of things are normally free of foreign transaction fees. Definitely tell your bank, your credit card company, about your travels outside the US, just in case, if you're not if you haven't traveled around Europe before, they may flag your charges as fraudulent. So that's a nightmare to, deal with that when you're in Europe. So just give your bank either a quick call, or some banks even have like an online feature where you can indicate when you'll be out of the country, and that way that all should be taken care of. If you're a US or Canadian citizen, you don't need a visa to travel. You will, however, have to get an ESTA to enter the UK. It's a very simple process. You basically just put in your passport information in their portal, and you normally get your approval back within like 48 hours. And we would recommend applying for that about a month or so prior to departure. And we do include the details on that with your final documents, how to do it, and what documents you're going to need. It does have a fee associated with it. It's about $20. But then you can use that ESTA to come and go to the UK as much as you want over 5 years, I believe. So you can use it for a trip in the future if you go back to the UK. If you're a citizen of any other country, you will also need to get the ESTA for the UK, but you may also need a proper visa. The ESTA is not really considered a visa. Um, So you should check with your own consulate. They would be the people with the most up-to-date information on visa requirements. Generally, if you need a visa to visit Europe, you can get a Schengen visa. So you basically get one visa that covers all the countries on mainland Europe. So that's at least a little bit convenient. Everybody needs to check and make sure that their passport is valid for at least 6 months after you return to the US. If it's not valid for, at least those 6 months, you may be denied boarding leaving the US, so you may not get to go on your trip. So definitely something to look at now on your passport, and then apply for a passport if you need to. And then you'll have your final document package, which will include, your daily itinerary, your hotel list, all that sort of information that you will want to carry with you. The flights that we book, you're limited to one carry-on and one checked bag, and the checked bag is up to £50. So that's included with the cost of the ticket. Um, we would not recommend bringing £50 in checked bags. So, maybe pack your bag, unpack it, get rid of half the stuff, and you should be good to go. Everybody brings too much stuff with them. If you look at all the pictures on here, everybody's just in t-shirts and jeans or t-shirts and shorts. And you're going to be, moving around so much. It's a very busy tour. So, most people, just bring too much clothes with them. And it's also a bit of a pain when you have to, unpack and repack when you're staying at multiple different hotels. We do have a suggested packing list on the website, so you can use that when you're packing your bag to give you a bit of guidance. And then just familiarize yourself with the TSA rules. If you haven't flown in a while, these are the rules about bringing gels and liquids on board. So just make sure you don't have anything in your carry-on that is more than 3 ounces, because it's no fun to start off your tour by getting, your expensive bottle of perfume or something taken from you. So just make yourself aware of those rules. We recommend taking as little with you as possible. Anything that you would be, devastated if you left behind, a laptop, an expensive phone, anything like that. It's probably better just to leave it at home. More than likely, somebody on your tour will lose something along the way, and you don't want it to be you, and you don't want it to be an expensive laptop. So if you can leave that stuff at home, we would definitely advise you to. Things maybe to bring with you would be like a Kindle. Just, you do have some travel time on here, so that would be a great way to kill some travel time. If you only have your phone and say a Kindle, you won't need a voltage converter. You'll just need the adapter for the UK and Europe, which is relatively inexpensive, maybe about 12 to 15 bucks in like the luggage section of a department store or online. If you do end up bringing other electronics with you, you will also need a converter because the voltage in Europe is different. And if you don't, you will more than likely fry your device. So, if you can leave it at home, do. Wi-Fi will be available at all the hotels. It's just a matter if it's free or not. Most hotels now do have free Wi-Fi everywhere, but you may come across one that it's only free in like the public spaces and not in your room. But they will let you know when you're checking in if there is any fee for Wi-Fi, and also just give you the passcode. Lots of places to get online when you're in Europe. Museums, cafes, bars, all have free Wi-Fi. You may want to set up like just a fake email address before you leave, because a lot of them will ask for an email address. So probably best to get your, I'm heading to Europe at gmail.com email set up, and then you won't be bothered by spam after you come home. So just a couple of other things that we suggest is, taking a book, again, your Kindle, just because you'll have travel time on the bus. Bring your student ID with you. Lots of places offer discounts for students in Europe. Plan ahead your free time activities if you can. It's the most efficient way to use your time, is if you know where you want to go in advance. You can also purchase entrances if there's a specific museum or monument that you want to visit. You can book that online ahead of time, and that will just save you time. You won't have to stand in line when you get to the museum or the monument. You'll be able to head right in. And also it's sometimes a little bit cheaper to do it online in advance. And then make copies of all of your documents and keep them separate for the originals because it's always easier to, replace a passport or a credit card if you have all of the details. And then above all, just have a fantastic time. This is like a great way to get an overview of a lot of cities in Europe, see where you want to go back in the future. And we do have young alumni trips that you'll be able to join if you want to go back and visit any of these places after your trip. So that is the PowerPoint presentation, and now we can have a Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can just put those in the chat feature there, and I will answer those for you.